What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Gloss Garage podcast. And yes, today I am your host, of course, Sock from Detailing Made Simple. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about iron removers and what they do for your paint. Why is it beneficial? How does it remove the iron particles from your paint and stuff like that? And all the products I'm going to be using today, you can purchase at thehouseofrags.com, which is this one, of course, Mile Deep. I purchased this with my own money. I did a big haul on the detail code when I purchased towels and all that other stuff. So I did purchase this with my own money, and I have used this quite a bit. In terms of, I just did the front hood. I thought I was recording, and for some reason, the file just wasn't working. So I'm redoing this podcast again, unfortunately. But yes, so I am using Mile Deep Purple, and in my bucket I have Labo Cosmetica Semper, which is their pH neutral soap. And as for the decontamination towel, I am using DIY Details clay towel. And like I said earlier, you could purchase this at the House of Rags. Use any creator's discount code, so that way you all can save money and it helps promote the content creators. Mine's is DMS, but you can use whoever you want. And yeah, so let's talk about iron removers and what they do and how it's beneficial for the paint. And let me bring you in closer so this way we can see what's going on. So I already washed the vehicle. Now we're up to the decontamination step. So once I'm done doing this iron remover, I'm going to be doing the water spout remover, which I'm going to be using in Edha. But yeah, so here I'm using Mile Deep iron remover. And why is an iron remover beneficial? And here I see a lot of scratches here. Let me bring you in. And this is that the paint is clean. Let me look at that. See that? That is some gnarly swirls and scratches. On the hood there is a bird etching that's there, so hopefully that comes out. If not, I'm going to try to probably do a little bit of 3000 grit sandpaper to try to remove. But yeah, so let's get started with the iron remover. So typically when people get an iron remover, they do this. You don't want to overuse your iron remover. This is the most expensive product in your detailing arsenal, or one of the most expensive products in your detailing arsenal. And the reason for it is because there's a lot of chemistry that goes around with this. And what this essentially does, it helps rapidly accelerate the oxidation process of those rust particles that are sharp on your car's paint. What are those rust particles? The best example I could give you is on a white vehicle. They typically have these orange specks, and those are what you call the iron particles. That is the oxidation that's already accumulated over time. And yes, they are jagged edges. And also what people do is when they spray this, they see all that purpling action, and then they just rinse off, thinking that the chemical did all the work. All this chemical is doing is accelerating the oxidation process to help remove that jagged edge of rust. It will round it off, and then you're ready for your mechanical step, which now in today's world, we all use a pretty much for slightly to moderate contamination, we end up using a clay towel or a clay mitt. Now, not all clay towels are created equal, meaning that some of them say they're fine, but they will mar the crap out of your paint. But I enjoy using the DIY Detail one, and also the McKee's 37 one. I've really enjoyed a lot as well. Those two clay towels I enjoy the most. Now, when people spray this on the paint, you let it activate for a little bit. It'll help accelerate that oxidation process. And then from here, you just apply it on the paint with your soapy solution, which will add that lubrication. And you're going to do short strokes. You're going to be doing short strokes. Now, a couple people may say, why am I using short strokes? The reason for that is because Ivan made a great point when I was at Eddie's garage a couple of years back, and what Ivan said is if you're doing these long strokes all the way across, you're not contacting the same or doing contact on the same area twice. Like, look at, I'm doing short strokes and moving along. I'm pretty much touching each surface area about 3 to 4 times before I finally hit here, versus if I'm doing long strokes, I only touched it twice. So he's saying it will help rapidly remove those particles, which as you hear is, oh, let me put my head on backwards, which here you don't hear anything. Down here, starting to hear, and it's shaving off. But with these short strokes, you're able to shave off those contaminants a lot quicker. Now, once I'm done, whoops. And this is why, a perfect example, I dropped this clay towel. Why I love these clay towels, you could just rinse these off. Go back into your soapy bucket, rub it against the grit guard on all areas just to be safe. And you're ready to clay again. With the clay bar, you're going to have to throw out that piece and grab another one. But yeah, so that's pretty much it, why Ivan said, use short strokes. But in this area, you don't want to spray so much. So the best thing to do here is just use 1 to 2 sprays. That's all you need. 1 spray on the pad and just clay. All you gotta do is just remove it. I'm not doing any pressure whatsoever. I am letting the towel do the work. And one thing I love about Mile Deep as well, since I've used it already, like I said 2 or 3 times already, the one thing that I really enjoy is the cling, how do I say it? What is that word? I guess the water agents, like it doesn't dry up on you quickly, which I truly enjoy, especially when you pair it up with any type of soap of your choice. When you are using, say, Incredible Suds, or what I'm using, Labo Cosmetica Semper here, or Apex soap, whichever one of your choice, what's going to happen is have that lubrication and it gives it more like dwell in work time, which is awesome. But yeah, so that is pretty much it in terms of iron removers, on what it's doing and the chemical aspect or reaction that is happening. And yes, it still does smell like sulfur. It does have a sulfur smell, but this is why, to mitigate that, you just use 1 to 2 sprays per panel, and that is pretty much it. Now I'm gonna move over to this panel. And what I'll show you here also, as I explain, is what is another benefit of an iron remover. So if you have a coated vehicle, or before we go to the coating part, if you are going to polish a vehicle with an iron remover, you're gonna polish with an iron remover, or right before you polish, you want to use an iron remover, because these contamination, yeah, they may not seem like it's a lot and you hear it. It may not seem like it's a lot of contamination, but say you grab whatever polishing pad of choice. I mean foam, not necessarily like a wool pad, because they leave their own slight defects if you are a bit too aggressive. But say a foam pad. Say a foam pad of choice. Whether it's, your Buff and Shine foam pad, Rupes yellow pad, DIY's yellow pad, whichever pad of your choice. If you start polishing on this contaminated paint, you're just going to, yes, shave off the contamination, because this is what we're doing, right? We're doing a mechanical abrasion here. And what's going to happen is you're going to remove those contamination, but now your pad is contaminated. And now we have a contaminated pad with jagged edges, and we're just bringing it across the paint. And once you wipe off that polish, you're going to sit there and say, why do I have more swirls than what I started with? Or I don't really see any improvement. Yes, the paint will feel smooth, but now you have to do a second step, and now you have to work harder, which, to avoid that, you just do what I'm doing. Just make sure you clay off those contamination first. Now, once I'm done with one side, come back on this half, spray 2 panels again, come back again, flip it on this side, and you hear that contamination, and it'll easily be shaven off quickly. And that's it. Now, what is the second benefit of having an iron remover? Yes, if you have a ceramic coated vehicle, not all coatings, I'm not gonna say not all coatings in general are bulletproof. They are not bulletproof whatsoever. They will have contamination that will eventually embed itself on the coating and on the paint. But with that being said, it will be a lot less than not having a ceramic coated vehicle, or even if you apply a sealant. And if you have any type of protection on your paint, you will have a lot less contamination on the paint. But in order to remove this, you may need, again, you will still need an iron remover and a clay towel. Do not use a clay bar because it is abrasive. If you use a clay towel, what's going to happen is, like I said, these clay towels, I like this one and the McKee's 37 clay towel. The reason why I love these two is I've noticed even on black paint, you will not mar the paint whatsoever. I'm not doing any pressure. I'm letting the towel do the work, and I'm doing short strokes. You will not mar the paint. Now, if you have moderate contamination, yes, you may mar the paint because you're probably overworking the same side of the clay towel. And what's going to happen is you're just moving that contamination around. So that is perfectly normal, and it happens. That's fine. But just make sure you have proper lubrication, and you're just using the techniques that I'm using here. I'm not doing any pressure, short strokes, and let the chemical and the clay towel do the job. And that is pretty much it. Those are the benefits of an iron remover. That is pretty much what an iron remover does. It helps round off and accelerate that oxidation process to remove those jagged edges, so that way it's easier to shave off on off of the paint with your clay media. And then that's it. And obviously the purpling action and the sulfur, that's more of a visual indicator. From what I've heard from other chemists and stuff like that, even when stoners said, those are just visual indicators of that is what people is used to see that purpling action. But that purpling action, it just shows you that there's iron contamination on the paint. You can't just rinse it off and then spray iron again and think iron remover again and just say, oh, why didn't it remove all the iron? You still need some mechanical abrasion, and that's it. So other than that, if you guys enjoy this type of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you want to see what's going on for the rest of this vehicle, I will be applying C6 Hydro on the paint. And then also on top of that, I will be also using Endgame compound from the detail code. So I'm going to do a one-step with Endgame compound on this paint. We'll see what's up with that. So head over to my channel at Detailing Made Simple, and yeah, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all on the next podcast. Peace. And also let me know what iron removers you guys are using at the moment.